Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Kinzler. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about Wiki Data. If I figure out this remote control correctly, yes. Wiki Data is a Wikimedia project. The Wikimedia Foundation is the entity that runs Wikipedia among a whole bunch of other interesting open content projects. And the goal is, of course, to provide the world's knowledge to everyone. And Wikimedia is, I think, doing a pretty good job with that, with Wikipedia. But the thing is, Wikipedia doesn't have quite all the answers yet. Especially, it doesn't have any answers in the form that machines can read and others can use to actually, well, create new answers. Right. Yes, the problem is, of course, if a machine tries to read Wikipedia, it looks something like this. Not very comprehensible. So the idea of Wikidata is to provide a database of the world's knowledge that everyone can edit. Is this new? Well, most of you will know the info boxes you see on Wikipedia pages, and a lot of people assume that these are fed from a nice structured database. Actually, they're not. They're maintained using these ugly text-based templates, which are also quite different between the individual language versions of Wikipedia. So if you go to a different language version of a page, then you will have different information displayed in a different way, maintained in a different structure as text on the page. It's kind of like maintaining your phone book in Word. It does not work very nicely. And if you look at the page in a language that does not have that many speakers, not that many editors, then you will sometimes find that you don't get this nice info box at all. There's one project that has been working in that direction for quite a while now. This is DBpedia. DBpedia has been extracting the data we have in the info boxes and has been providing it to the world. But why put it into text? Why maintain it as text in the first place? Why not have a central repository with all this data provided to the Wikipedias, provided to DBpedia, provided to whoever is interested? Well, that should be simple, right? It's not quite that simple, and I will tell you in a little bit why. But first, the first problem, of course, is Wikipedia exists in several languages. And if we want to provide data to the pages in different languages, we first have to know which pages are talking about the same thing. Wikipedia at the moment is doing this using the interlanguage links. So on the left-hand side of every page, you see all the other languages that have an article about the same thing. The structure then looks something like this. It's like a spaghetti knot that is hopefully complete and hopefully consistent, but sometimes it's not. And we want to change this. Oh yeah, it's also maintained as text, of course, like everything on Wikipedia. It causes a whole lot of edits. On small Wikipedias, it actually accounts for the majority of edits, just maintaining these things. Links to all languages from all languages. In some Wikipedias, in the smaller ones, it actually accounts for the majority of the total amount of data on the site. This is kind of silly. So we want to maintain this in a central spot. But that's just the very basic infrastructure for what is to come, for actually maintaining information about the world, right? So the idea is, again, to edit the data on Wikidata and push it to any data consumers. And there will also be an API for third parties to edit and to consume, of course. I'm skipping the intermediate questions now because I don't have that much time. The most important bit is people don't agree on everything, right? Even something as simple as the number of people living in a specific place can be very political. Maybe not if we are talking about Berlin, but as soon as we are talking about, I don't know, China, well, do we include Taiwan? Do we not? I mean, it really depends who you ask and where you are. So we are not trying to model the truth. We are not trying to model the world. We are just trying to capture what authority claimed what about what. Trying to maintain all the depth of information you will also find on Wikipedia, with giving different figures for different points in time, citing different sources. So we have a rather complex data model backing all this. In practical terms, this means you can give 2 population numbers for Berlin and mark them both as valid. Maybe they include different things, or maybe they are backed by different sources. And you can also mark certain values as historic. Things change over time, right? And we want to not just throw away the old data, we want to keep it and make it accessible. So in short, our data model goes a bit beyond what you would get from the standard semantic web RDF-based data model. All of this is, of course, possible, but rather awkward using that type of triple-based representation. So what you have is you have an entity like Berlin, you have a property like population, and then you don't have just a value, but you have complex structures for representing all the depth of knowledge that exists about that property and all the disagreements and uncertainty. The next step, of course, the next important thing is the information we provide has to be available in multiple languages. Wikipedia exists in about 280 languages, and we want to support them all. So anything you see on Wikidata can be localized. Of course, not the population number. That is nothing you want to translate. But maybe the description, capital of Germany, or something like that. Or you want to have the Russian transliteration, or the, I don't know, Chinese transliteration. Yeah. The thing that is up next is lists. Wikipedia loves lists. We have a category of lists, but not only that. We have lists of people. We have lists of people by occupation, and lists of people by birthplace and whatever. And just like the info boxes, all of these lists are maintained by hand in every language. And we want to allow people to create and update these lists automatically, of course, because it's just a huge waste of the most valuable resource that Wikipedia has, which is the attention of the editors. Yeah, Wikipedia even has a list of lists. I find this very great every time I look at it. And there are also very, well, entertaining lists. I like the list of animals with fraudulent diplomas, wartime cross-dressers. This is my favorite. And as you can see on the lower left, this list exists in several languages and is maintained in several languages. I'm afraid Wikidata will not quite be able to provide people with a list of inventors that were killed by their own invention, at least not with all the context information you would like there. But a lot of the lists we have on Wikipedia are a lot more boring, like the list of countries by GDP. And that list does not exist only once. It exists from several dimensions or several aspects, like the list of countries by GDP per capita, and a few more. And it's more, really. If you look at these lists, it's 3 lists. It gives you one list for 3 different sources, one according to the International Monetary Fund, one according to the World Bank, and one according to the CIA World Factbook. And all of this is maintained by hand in several languages. So yeah, we want to allow people to do this in a nicer way, actually without any work at all. And eventually we want to allow people also to visualize these lists or search results or queries on maps, using charts and whatever. So that's it. I should mention, well, there you see where you can find us. You can find us on Twitter, of course. You can find us on the web. You can follow our daily discussions on Freenode. I should mention that this project is made possible by the Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence, by the Moore Foundation, and by Google. These are the donors that provided us with the money to have 12, now 13 people working on this for a year. And we very much hope that we can provide well, an amazing new project in that little time. Okay, any questions? There's one question there. Maybe you can have a microphone.
Yes, thank you. What's the opinion of Wikipedia about your project?
Well, Wikipedia does not have one opinion. When you try to work there, then you will realize that quickly. People tend to be a bit skeptical, but so far we have been able to convince pretty much everyone. We are very careful to work with the community. We are careful not to force anything upon anyone. Like the info boxes will not vanish. People can use data from WikiData if and when and as far as they like, and can just keep doing whatever they do if they want to do that, right? And we are also careful to introduce this gradually, first in one Wikipedia, then growing it out. So I'm pretty confident that people will very much like it. Especially actually the first aspect, the interlanguage links, that is actually rather boring to most people, but to people working on Wikipedia, this is extremely exciting because this has been a huge burden for the last 5 or 6 years. And to get rid of this redundant, nasty lists of links to all the languages is something that people really want. Any more questions? Over there?
Just a simple one. I tried to do it without the microphone.
I think within half a year or a full year, we will see a substantial amount of data coming from the German language Wikipedia and many other wikis. But it will take a lot longer, if it will ever happen at all, that everything gets transferred. Everything meaning, not, of course, not the text, but just what you see in the info boxes. I believe that there are some very uniform info boxes. There is, for instance, a uniform information box for people. There's not so uniform, but also very widespread info boxes about places. And I think people will start very quickly to transfer these into Wikidata. And then, of course, if you transfer information from the German language Wikipedia about Berlin, and then you transfer information about Germany, about Berlin from the French and from the Japanese and so on, there will be conflicts and people need to work out how to structure it, and that will take time. But I think maybe in 2 years, the majority of data you see in info boxes will come from Wikidata. But that's a very rough guess. It depends on a lot of factors. So it would be my hope that about 2 years should see us with a substantial amount of data in the system. Do we have time for more questions before I ask? Okay, 2 minutes to questions. We can just start with the panel. I guess questions will arise. Okay, thank you very much.